Hi, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is Do or Die episode 3. We are officially going to be halfway through the series because there are going to be 5 episodes, 98% positive of that. So we've already done 2 and we'll have 2 more after this one. So this is the halfway mark. Very exciting. And this one I have some high hopes for. I know I said that every episode, but that's kind of the point, right? I'm not picking up books that I have no hopes for, that's for sure. And I know many of you have kind of commented and observed that this is very different to how I usually do my reading, and that is so true, bestie. Like, yes. And that is the point of the video series as well, because I tend to let things go, DNF them, take them off my TBR, and just be cool with that. Just not think about it again, not worried about it. Honestly, it doesn't really come back around. I have already written it off. But the Do or Die books are ones that I specifically have taken on and off my TBR multiple times, and they keep coming back, and I just, still have a bit of an interest in them. Still kind of wonder if they're the one that got away, if they are my elusive new favorite. And so far, no. Spoiler for the other 2 blogs if you haven't read them or watched them. I read them. But so far we have 2 DNFs and 2 4 stars. 1 in each episode. So the episodes are the same. But not this one. Not this one. Because this one I have high hopes for. So this episode, I have 2 books, and they are pretty different books, I would say. So first I have Gild, which is the Played Prisoner series number 1 by Raven Kennedy. Obviously a very incredibly popular dark romantasy series, and I know a lot about this for someone who hasn't read it. But this is one that every year for Bookopoly-thon, when I play Bookopoly-thon and there's that prompt of reading Becca's favorites, I always kind of hope that I will land on it and I will start the series, and yet it hasn't happened. I even landed on it and picked a different one, but that was years ago. Anyways, like, this has been like a possibility, I feel like, every year, because every year I'm like, if I land on that square, maybe I'll read Gild. And I know my sister read the first 3 books. I was just talking to her about it actually last night when I'm filming this intro, and she read the first 3 ages ago and was like, you'll probably like this and everything. And I just have never read that first page. I've never done it, and that's the premise of the series. So this is a King Midas retelling. Could not care less about that part, won't lie. However, she has been turned to gold and she is his willing prisoner because of safety. And I'm pretty sure that this is a love triangle switcheroo type thing. I've heard many people say that this first book is basically a prologue. That's a long prologue, let me tell you. But I fully anticipate to either DNF this book or give it 4 stars. That is my prediction. I don't think I'm gonna love this first book a whole lot. I do think, and this is again one of those things I never do. I never do this. I think it's weird. A weird way to read books. But this is one that I feel like book 3 I could be really into it by that point. So I feel like if I continue this series, I could very well have a few 5-star reads in it. But obviously reading 1 or 2 books that I like but don't love, and they're long and they're dark, to get to that point is very intimidating. And that's why it's never happened. Truthfully, that is the whole reason right there. But we are going to finally know for sure whether or not this writing style and series is for me. And then my other one I'm very excited about because it's Strange Love, which is Galactic Love number 1 by Ann Aguirre. This is a little bit weird, sweet alien romance that I've had recommended to me so many times. I've put it on and off my TBR. It's a really popular one. Again, a little bit dark, I think, but I think the alien himself is quite sweet to her. And the whole reason why it's back on my TBR is because I accidentally, having no idea that it was the same author, read and loved a sci-fi trilogy by her. I gave every single book 5 stars, absolutely loved it, immediately was like, yes, I'm adding something else by this author on my TBR. Realized that Strangelove was by them and was like, oh, well, I will definitely read that one. And so it's been on my TBR since I finished that trilogy back in February. So I think that this is going to be 5 stars. I think that this is actually going to be a pretty safe 5 stars because I've already read and loved the author, which is not the case, all the other times it's been on my TBR. So I feel really excited about it. I feel like it's a safe bet. They're interconnected standalone, so I only have to read one book, and I just feel like it's going to be a win. So those are my predictions for this vlog and this episode of Do or Die, where I have to start the books. I cannot just put it off on my TBR for any time in the future, and we either DNF it or we read it and decide if it was worth the wait. Again, so far, no, it has not been. Hello. I am in a terrible reading slump. Partially, this video is to blame. Partially, the will of the money is to blame. Partially, my library holds are to blame. And last but not least, the romantasy project that I have introduced, committed to, publicly stated I will be doing, and am now struggling to fulfill those promises. We're in DNF City, but more importantly in the DNF City, we're in a reading slump because, almost all of my reading in April happened in the middle 2 weeks of April. And then I haven't read in May. I've read 1 novella, so I had an hour's worth of good reading. That was a win. And it's the evening of the 7th, and this is technically supposed to go up Tuesday. I'm 1 chapter into Gild and happened for many days. So anyways, I'm gonna go upload my romantasy video, and while that's happening, I'm going to try and make myself read, and maybe we will have cured ourselves and this video will be coming your way. But maybe not. We did it, Joe. We did it. Last night I read all of Strangelove, but I read all of it. I am waffling between a 4 and a 5 star, and I will explain why. As I mentioned before, already read and loved a specific sci-fi romance trilogy from this author. This is my first alien romance by the author. I will not read the other books in the series because they are tropes that do not interest me at all. The second book is an AI. I hate robots. I hate AI. I have a fear of them. There is nothing less sexy, except maybe scientists, but they often go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? And then I love that my lifelong vendetta against lab coats and scalpels and the smell of disinfectant is coming out. Once again, only in media, only in a sexy way. I'm just not into it. I'm glad it exists. Okay. Anyways, back on the topic. Strangelove. So the second book is AI, and the third book is a circus / cruise ship entertainer type thing, and I'm just not into it at all whatsoever. But this one was interesting. So first of all, we have a very creepy looking insectoid predator-esque alien who is a cinnamon roll. He is a beta. He has never been in charge of anything in his entire life. He is just happy to be here. He's happy to be here, and he would love for someone to pick him, and he would love for someone to love him. Oh, he's so sweet. He accidentally kidnaps a human and her dog, does not realize that dogs don't talk, and so gives them both a translator implant, and so now the dog can talk to his human and this alien and other people and stuff. So They were so cute, so sweet, honestly lovely. Some very creative sex. Can't say as I've ever read that one before. Not sure how I feel about it. Walked the line between hot and disturbing. But I think she pulled it off. I think she pulled it off pretty good. Yeah, very, very creative on that front. I will give her points for that one. There was a little bit of a sad storyline. You had some side characters dying because of a douchebag. And there was like a whole revenge plot with that I wasn't really expecting. But the thing that I did not like about this book, right, is that because of overpopulation, his species doesn't allow just anyone to procreate. And so they have to pass all of these trials in this entire competition and get approval in order to be together, which you all know I don't like. I don't like when someone else has a say in whether or not we get to live happily ever after. It disturbs me. I grew up in a high control environment where this type of thing was common, okay? You often got, not in my house, but you either married someone, dated someone that your parents and spiritual leaders approved of, or you got kicked out of your house. Like that was the norm. So this is like a thing that I don't like reading. And we're talking like you're 22. We're not even talking like you're 17. We're talking like you're 22. You're getting kicked out of Bible college for holding somebody's hand, you know, that type of thing. Just a lot to it. So I don't like that part at all. And I didn't really like the resolution of that either. That basically, obviously they get to be together, but it's kind of like a bittersweet, you made it, but you don't get to live well situation. I don't know. And so I didn't love all that. All of it was well done. I think that it made a lot of sense. The plot, the storyline, all of it worked really well. I think that she wove the different factors of that together really well between their society and the actual like trials competition and the kind of malicious intervention of this guy that he hates, that is, you know, the golden child and has always taken everything and is now trying to take his potential mate. So I think all of that was really well done. It's just not like something I love to read, but the couple themselves, so cute, so sweet. The dog was great. There were a couple of moments that made me laugh. There were a couple of quotes that were just so sweet and thoughtful and just lovely. So a lot of like exceptionally good things, but again, with kind of a plot that, while it didn't like really push my boundaries or stress me out in a way, or like it wasn't written in a way that like really made me upset or anything. It's just still not a thing that I love. So because of that, it's a little hard to give it 5 stars. I do temporarily have it at a 5-star on Goodreads, but I'm still debating. And I did kind of forget. I lowered Winter's Orbit to 3 stars. So that's not true. We have 2 DNFs, a 3-star, and a 4-star for the series. Just not in the vlogs. But yeah, I did lower it because it's a book that is good, but not for me at all, and is the type of thing I don't like to read. This, you know, way better. And that is the thing. Like, this is for sure more enjoyable for me than We Hunt the Flame or Winter's Orbit, which are the books that we have also finished in the series. But at the same time, don't love that storyline. I'm never gonna love that storyline. We also have to give credit to this book for me picking up and reading it when I haven't read anything in days, weeks, years, it feels like. So there's a readability to the book that like deserves its credit, because I have not been reading anything. I've started a few too many books, and that's all the farther I've gotten on anything. So the fact that I read this, stayed up last night to finish it, is a recommendation, right? The new ads on YouTube, they either put in 85 of them or they put in 1 or none. Like, I beg of you, get good at your only job. Useless. Anywho, so that means I need to read Gild, which I had read one chapter of, and I liked the first chapter perfectly fine. So it opens up to her being in a cage and she is watching the king have sex with some of his concubines, and she is his favorite concubine. And she's gold touched and she's has the mark of his favor, like all stuff that I already knew. But it opens up with this sex scene, which she is a voyeur for and unable to partake in or anything. And the thing about this, right, is I don't want to just DNF it and move on with my life, even though maybe romantasy is not the thing that I'm in the mood for, since I tried so many of them. But nonetheless, the time is now, and I feel like since I just read the other book, I can make progress with Gild without feeling like I have so much hanging over my head. But I need to get this romantasy video up. It's so late. But yeah, I'm gonna try and read Gild today, tomorrow, this weekend. I'm gonna try and have this vlog up when it's supposed to be up. Hello, I'm here for your final update. So I did end up DNFing Gild one more chapter and basically 5%. I completely understand that it's the character growth, right? The character that we meet, our main character that we meet in the first chapter of book 1, is not who we're following by the end of book 1 or book 2 or book 3, right? And so the place that she is and the way that she thinks and the things that she believes, those are all completely different. But I just don't want to read it. I don't want to read it, and I don't want to read how dark that first book is. I don't want to read this character growth. I just don't want to read all that awful things that happen that take our character from one place to another. I really, really don't. So instead of reading the book, I did watch Rachel from Raven Haired Readers, which I love that channel name. It always makes me think of Anne of Green Gables. I don't know if that's the reference or not, but that was the first raven-haired beauty reference I ever had in media. So anyways, she had a vlog that was spoilers for the whole series, and so I watched that. Now the vlog was definitely made for people who have actually read the series. It wasn't meant to be like a oh wow, I lost my word, but it wasn't meant to be in place of reading the book. It was not like a summary for people who haven't read the book or the series. But I think that if you've always been curious but don't really want to read the books, it's a good option. I feel like I got a good idea of everything that happened and kind of the pacing and the character growth and some of the twists and turns and just, you know, the things I wanted to know. And another reason why I don't really want to go through book 1 is a lot of people, including Rachel, seem to feel like book 3 is the best book in the series. And you know, I'm just not going to read like a 6-book series to really love one. I'm just not going to on purpose anyways. Like if I'm going to do that, it's going to be accidental. So I just very easily decided to DNF it, and thank God for that, because the second I did that, my reading slump over. Like I read a novella, went straight into the first book in the series, went straight into the second book in the series, all in less than 24 hours. I have DNF'd other books since then. I have read another book since then. I'm finishing a book right now. You know, so like all I really needed, and this is what always happens, I thought that I could pull a Jan, and I can't, because Jan Agaton, if you're not familiar with her reading vlogs and stuff, she's always reading like 7 books at a time. It is wild the way that she just dips in and out of these books. I fully knowing that I can't do that, because I have the exact same result every single time I do, right? I start like 4 books, I don't read anything, I DNF all 4. It doesn't matter what 4 books it is, that's what's gonna happen, and that is what happened this time around, Gild being one of them. So I'm a little bit frustrated by the fact that it feels like every single one of these episodes is having the same result, a DNF and a 4-star, even if I end up even though like Winter's Orbit ended up lowering and everything, like in the vlog it's a DNF and a 4-star. And I don't think it's because I'm reading them too close together or anything like that and just want to be done, because like the first episode, I first of all DNF'd the first book rather than the second that I read for it, and also I read those books a month apart. That's why you didn't get the episode until March, even though I started the vlog in January. So like I don't think it's really the concept's fault. Maybe it's just the fact that like there's always a 50-50 chance that I'm gonna DNF a book, especially a new to me author. And so maybe that is why this series has resulted in 50-50 DNFs. But yeah, I definitely have decided to give Strangelove a high 4. So no 5 stars. It's a 4-star and a DNF, just like everything else. I'm looking for a different result. We have 2 more episodes left. I believe in us. I feel like surely one of these books is going to be a 5-star, right? I hope so. I really hope so, because otherwise, what was the point of this series? But I hope this was entertaining for you. I know that, like, honestly, all I did was update you on books in this one. I didn't, like, do anything vlog-wise, really. You know, you didn't get any B-roll or anything like that. So, sorry about that, but hopefully the project, the experiment is what you were here for, so you got what you wanted anyways. But yeah, I mean, just giving myself permission to DNF it right there at the beginning and not give it more of a try allowed me to read. It allowed me to read other books, and I got my reading mojo back because I was not dreading having to read the books that I was having to read. And you know, I'm a mood reader. I know it. I know what works for me. And sometimes I'm like, mentally, I can circle around that and we are gonna make it work. And I never do. My brain does control what I'm reading to a certain extent. Like, I just can't manipulate it or mind game it out of what it wants to do. And that is just true. So I'm happy with the results. Honestly, I'm really happy with the results of this one because Strangelove is the favorite for the series, and then also Gild, I think, is my earliest DNF, right? So we're going to call that a win compared to the other DNFs. But yeah, I have a couple more big hitters, big names, titles, and authors that you're gonna know for these last couple episodes. So fingers crossed that the best is yet to come and that I'm going to have a book that I love. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.